For most people, it is often easier to press two buttons at the same time when one is a face button and the other is a shoulder button as well, since they typically use two different fingers to do that, instead of trying to press multiple face buttons at the same time with just your thumb. And on that note, let's go over the most common way to grip a controller for ease of use. It's worth noting that to play most games successfully, or at least comfortably, you will need to hold the controller with both hands. You will primarily be using your thumbs to control the game, and so you want to hold the controller in your hand so that your thumb rests comfortably where it will most often be positioned. On the left side of the controller, this will be with your thumb resting on the analog stick or D-pad, depending on the game's control method. It is natural and usually comfortable for your index finger and/or middle finger to rest on the top of the controller, where the shoulder button and trigger is located, and that is typically how you will press these buttons during play. The remaining fingers can rest behind the controller to help hold it and support it in your hand, with the longer handle part on either side resting in your palm. On the right side, the layout and grip will be similar. Your thumb will mainly need to be positioned on the face buttons, as pressing those will happen very frequently throughout play. Sometimes you may need to reach your thumb over to the right analog stick to use that as well, depending on the game, but that's usually less frequent than using the face buttons. Some game genres and types may be an exception, and it is possible you could play a game where you would use the analog sticks more often and focus on the shoulder and trigger buttons more than the face buttons. But this is less common for the majority of games and will depend on the type of game you are playing. Just like with the left side, on the right side, your index finger and/or middle finger can rest atop the controller in easy reach of the shoulder and trigger buttons. For those who have difficulties in this regard or find holding a controller in this way uncomfortable, there are some alternatives. One way that is less common but still utilized by some folks is to hold the controller like usual in your left hand, but use an alternative grip in your right hand, where instead of using your thumb to press the face buttons, you use both your index and middle fingers at the same time, as shown in this image. This has some drawbacks with certain games, as it makes pressing the right shoulder and trigger buttons more difficult, but depending on the game, it may be a more viable approach for certain individuals who prefer this kind of grip.